Today's lesson is your review for your quiz over 6.1 and 6.2. The first question that I wanted to review with you today was this question about a circle with center T shown below, and then these four questions are asked. The first question is asking you to name a radius. Remember that the radius must start here at the center, and then it must go to the edge of your circle. So here is a radius right there, and I'm going to go ahead and call it TS. I could also call it ST. Um, this is also a radius, and that is also a radius. So you could have used those as well. I did not choose to use those because of the second question, the name a diameter. Remember, the diameter must go through that center point T, and it goes from one end through the other, just like a chord would. So there is my radius. I'm going to call it XU because that's the direction that I drew it in. But I could have called it UX as well. A chord, remember, it goes from one side of the circle to the other, but it does not go through the center. So here is my chord right there. Let me see, there we go. And I'm going to call it VW because that's the way that I drew it. Now, the last question for this particular one is going to ask you something about the radius and the diameter. It's going to give you one and ask for the other. Please, please, please make sure that you check which one they're giving you because they're not going to really tell you. They're going to use letters to tell you. So I'm going to grab my highlighter here and I'm going to highlight TS because TS is 8 units. So I'm going to highlight it. There it is. There's TS. I just followed the letters from T to S. And it says that it is 8 units. So now I just have to decide, is that the diameter or is that the radius? That's all I have to decide. Well, as I can see right here, that is the radius because that's the letters that I used to name it. All I have to do is multiply that by 2, and so 8 times 2 is 16. Be careful though, sometimes when they ask, they're going to give you the diameter, then you would just divide by 2 to find the radius. All right. And I knew that they were asking for the diameter because they always give one and then ask for the other. And if, as I can see right here, UX that they're asking for is my diameter right here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next question. In the circle below, N is the center. Segment JG is a diameter. Line KI intersects the circle at J, and line HF intersects the circle at M and J. Use this information to fill in the blanks. Give a secant line. Remember, a secant line actually has to go through the circle. A secant line has to go through the circle. So the secant line would be this one right here. It must go through the circle. And you must be able to see a part of the circle and a little bit of space like we see right there. So this one is the secant line. I'm just going to name it by the 2 letters at the end, F and H, but I really could have chose any of the letters on there, but you're always safe if you choose the 2 at the ends by the arrows. All right, give a chord. Remember, the chord can be hiding inside of your secant, or you can find another chord. In fact, I see a chord. Let me grab a different color. I see a chord right here. I see a chord right here. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one. But I also could have used JM because this is a chord as long as I just think of it as the segment from J to M. All right, and the tangent line, they kind of gave me the tangent line when I read the instructions to you, and they gave me the tangent line right here. Okay, remember a tangent line can only touch the circle at a certain spot, and so here is my tangent right here. The tangent just kind of skims right along beside the circle, so they actually named it for me KI. All right, let's take a look at our next question. This is the question where you are going to use those theorems that we talked about in 6.1, and you are going to use the Pythagorean theorem to help you solve uh, for the missing side that they're asking for. In the figure below, the segments DE and DF are tangent to the circle at center O. That means that those two are equal to each other. That means that those two are equal to each other. It also means because they are tangent that you have a 90 degrees, and let me grab my 90-degree color right here. Given that DF is 12.6 and OD is 17.4, find OE. So this is what they're asking me to find. And if I look at it, this is R, my radius. I can follow along just like in the other one. I'm going to bring the 12.6 over here, and I'm going to use the Pythagorean theorem with this triangle right here, which is a right triangle, and that's why I can use the Pythagorean theorem. The thing that I have to be the most careful of is which one is C, and C is going to be 17.4 right here. It's always going to be this one right here, never the tangent one. It shouldn't be the tangent one. So I'm going to put 17.4 squared right there. I'm going to put 12.6 squared right here, and I'm going to solve for r squared, my radius. All right, let me bring up my calculator here because I don't know what 12.6 squared is, and I need that. So 158.76, and then 17 point, oops, nope, hold on. I forgot how Desmos worked. Let's get a new line. There we go. 17.4 squared. And then I just have to make a decision. I just have to make a decision. Oops, I picked the wrong color, but close enough. I just have to make a decision now. Should I add or should I subtract? And I like to put the line between them because this just helps me to decide should I add or should I subtract. And if the line's between them, of course, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract the 158.76. Oh, that's nice. They're going to go to 0, 76 minus 76. So let me put that in and let's figure out what we got. There we go. I got 144. I can use my calculator one last time if I need to. Let me pick that right color for R. There we go. And to remember to get rid of the square, I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. I'm going to put the square root of 144 in my calculator, and it is 12. All right, let me get that calculator off to the side so that I can get, that I can get my R. And there we go. Since R is OE, 12 is what I am putting inside my answer blank. All right, the last one that I wanted to do for you today comes from 6.2. Please make sure that you guys do go ahead and do that assignment. I did notice that a lot of you have not opened it yet. Please, I'm hoping that it just was taking you some time to get the notes done. But here's a quick overview of 6.2. So in the circle below, F is the center, GI is the diameter, and the measure of angle GFH is 95 degrees. Now, I could have seen all of that in the picture. I could have looked at the picture and said, there's my diameter, here is my radius, there is a chord, there's another chord, and then I can see right here that they're telling me this angle is 95 degrees. So all that information was in the circle, but it's always good to read it as well. We're going to use that information to fill in the blanks. Give a central angle. A central angle has to contain the center, and then it must go to the two ends of the circle, and it cannot be over no, it can be over 180 degrees. No, I think it can. But I would just go ahead and give them this one. There's a central angle right there. It's already named for you. There you go. All right, give a major arc. A major arc must contain three letters when we name it, and it must be over half of the circle. Now, remember that they did tell you that this is the diameter, so this is going to be my reference point. I can start at G. I can start here at G, but I must go past I to be a major arc because this is half of the circle. Or I could have done this way. This is half of the circle. So it doesn't matter which way I want to go. Say if I want to go the top, I would go here and maybe I would stop right at H. I would call this G, J, H because I have to tell you which direction to go to. If I had chose to go this way, I would stop at J, and I would call this one G, H, J. Okay, so there's two major arcs that you could use. I'll go ahead and do the top one. So there's going to be my major arc. Oh, nope. There's my major arc, and I'm going to call it G, oops, stop that, J, H. Okay, you always must use three letters. Now, to give a minor arc, I only need two letters. I need to keep it under 180 degrees. So a minor arc, I have to do something that's smaller. So I could do this as a minor arc. I could do that as a minor arc. I could also come down here to this half and I could say, there's a minor arc, there's a minor arc. So it's just my preference. There are one, two, three, four minor arcs on there. Any of them are correct to use. Um, just for coloring purposes, I'm going to go ahead and use this one, and I'm just going to call it G and H. All right, now they're asking me to find the measure of GH. Remember, the measure of GH is this measure right here because F is your center. Since F is your center, the measure of that angle there, GFH, is the same as the measure of the arc. So I'm simply going to say it is 95 degrees because that measure and the arc's measure match. Now it's asking me to find the measure of GJI. So I'm going to grab my highlighter here and I'm going to grab a darker one. And I'm just going to follow the letters from G to J to I. There they are. Let me make that a little bit more noticeable. There we go. What I need to notice from this is that they go right here with the diameter. Remember, the diameter cuts your circle in half. A circle is always 360 degrees. And so if I just divide that by 2, I get 180 degrees. 180 degrees here, 180 degrees there. And so the measure of that arc would be 180 degrees. All right, because remember, F is our center. F is our center. They told me right here that F is my center. I hope this helps you guys on your quiz and good luck today.